There's a couple of plays in the formation doubles offset weak that can only be found in the Chicago playbook. Specifically these two with the orbit motion. You want to start with the RPO Orbit Bubble, which is great for setting up its passing counterpart. This is a super easy play to read. If your opponent doesn't user the motion receiver, toss the ball out to him as soon as it's snapped. The outside defenders will have trouble playing the receiver unless they are in man, but even if your opponent figures this out, you should still test their open field tackling. It's just too easy to make people miss in this game, and once you run this a few times, your opponent will be forced to get their user out there. Now you have them right where you want them, because now you can sprinkle in your other options that have the exact same look. It starts with your other option on this play, handing off to the running back. In order to do this, just don't press anything after the ball is snapped. Now that the user is gone, the middle should be wide open for easy yards. But this is just the beginning. Now that you have your opponent scrambling to cover this one play, it's time to hit them over the top. This PA Orbit X spot has the exact same motion as the Orbit Bubble, but is instead a play action pass. The only adjustments I like to make are putting the Y receiver on a streak and the X receiver on a slant. You can keep the play action or choose to block it, depending on the pressure your opponent is sending. The first receiver you're going to look at is the Y slot streak. If your opponent is in zone, you can sometimes snap throw this route between defenders. By this point, your opponent is going to be so discombobulated that they are not going to know who to cover. Remember, the best way to stop the Orbit Bubble is man coverage, but if they run man against this setup, they could get burned. It's a lose-lose if your opponent doesn't figure out how to stop this quickly. Now, I like to read the X slant underneath next because it could get open quick. If your opponent is in zone, the Y streak does a great job of clearing out the defenders for the slant to get open. Also, if you've hit them with the Orbit RPO, they'll be running after that motion, leaving the middle of the field wide open. If your opponent is running man, this will also be an issue. Just wait for your receiver to clear the middle and beat the corner trailing behind him. Now, to put the finishing touches on this masterpiece, this tight end post is so deadly because 1, it gets open late after you've made other reads, 2, it beats man and zone, and 3, it clears 30-yard zone drops. It is one of the most unique routes in the game. By the time your opponent figures out how to stop everything else, you hit them with this ace in the hole. They almost have to use this route to get any kind of decent coverage on it. But again, they have to consider the Orbit RPO, the streak, and the slant. All I can say is good luck. Now, there are a ton of good passing plays in this formation, but I want to go over 2 unique running plays, the RPO Bubble and Shovel Option. Let's start with this RPO Bubble. When sprinkled in with the Orbit plays, this play can become crucial to getting important yards. So you're going to want to read the defensive end or the outside linebacker. If he stands up, you hand it to the running back. I'm going to let these clips play out so you can get a sense of what this looks like. If that end crashes, you pull it out and run with your quarterback. You can do this by not pressing anything until your running back is cleared. You don't even need escape artists, as the holes will typically be wide open.
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
The last read here is the wide receiver on the bubble. If the end and corner of your slot receiver crash on you, just dump it out to your receiver. I play a lot of good players, all running meta defenses against me, and they almost all had trouble stopping these plays, even when I was spamming them. So the final play we're going to be talking about is the shovel option. It's really good if you're going for a 2-point conversion or you're trying to get a crucial 3rd or 4th down. While there are technically 3 options here, keep, pitch, or shovel, I would only recommend keeping or pitching it. Like most of the plays I've shown you, this is another easy read. If you see a hole up the middle, juggle with your quarterback by pressing Y and the left stick toward the line of scrimmage to pick up those crucial yards. If you don't see space in the middle, press the left bumper on Xbox or L1 on PlayStation to pitch it out to your running back. Even if you make the wrong read, don't panic. A simple juggle to the inside by your running back as soon as you pitch the ball can glitch out the defender so you can run right past them. I'm sorry to anyone who comes up against this. If you have any thoughts or questions, I'd love to hear them. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Poop.
You can't skip lunch. You just can't, guys.